Hey everyone, RogueGold here, welcome back to The Division 2. I've got the latest lore video for you today, but before I say anything, because I want to get right into this, I'm going to give you your spoiler warning. If you don't want to be spoiled for the ongoing Division 2 story, including the latest Scout and Manhunt content, then click off now, because we're getting right to it. You good? Okay, can we all agree Schaefer is back? Like, he's not physically awoken yet, but he's back, alright? Not only do I believe the Barden Schaefer is going to wake up by the end of this season, but he has also returned right now in another form as of the past few weeks of story, which we're going to cover. So I'm slightly late to this, as this has been unraveling over the past few drops, but this is pretty hugely important for the ongoing Division 2 story leading to the Battle for Brooklyn DLC, so let's get right to it and break it all down. If you end up enjoying the video and you want to stay up to date on everything with the Division 2, then I hope you will consider clicking that subscribe button, as I will have you covered right here. And without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so in case you are newer to the game or just not hugely involved in the story, let me recap you on the significance of Barden Schaefer. Schaefer was one of the main Black Tusk leaders and our antagonists in the Division 2's Year 1 and 2 story. He was essentially the liaison between Natalia Sokolova, some of the other BTSU high-ranking lieutenants, and various enemy organizations, right? This was the guy. Now, we finally got to directly confront him back in Season 3. That's right, not Year 5 Season 3, not Year 6 Season 3, the original Season 3. And in that mission's conclusion, we end up knocking him into a coma and taking him captive. Now that story beat and moment happened in the final months of 2020 in our real world, right? It has been over 4 years since Barden has been absent in the Division 2's story. Now he was a popular character back then, right? I always thought that he's had some of the best voice acting in the game. His just presence as a character has always been fun. The funny thing is though, since he has fallen into this coma, he's actually become several times more important than he ever was back in the day, right? Because we learned that he is a part of the overall plan that Aaron Keener and Faye Lau are devising, with the double agent, triple agent deals sabotaging what Natalia Sokolova and Calvin McManus are up to. And what we ultimately learned was that Barden got intentionally captured by us because he has invaluable information to share about that entire operation. The thing is, all these years later in our real world, all these months later in the game, he has yet to wake up. Now, as of right now, when I'm making this video, he is still asleep. However, signs are pointing to his awakening happening very soon. The first reason being, they have officially brought back the voice actor for Schaefer, right? After years, I believe it's been, since we've had any new Schaefer dialogue, he is now finally back. And in my opinion, you don't do that unless you intend to have that character and that voice actor begin to play a larger role in the story, much like what we saw with Viper, where that was a character that we disposed of way back in Season 4, and yet for the past few seasons, she has been like the main character. She is in just about every single comm that releases. So, take a listen to one of the recent Year 6 Season 3 Scout comms where Schaefer made his grand return.
You do not have to do this.
Yes, I do. We've come too far, and I'm not going to let all this be for nothing.
They're going to kill you.
Only if they find out. So don't tell them.
I don't like using you as bait.
You're the one who got me into this.
We're gonna die, aren't we?
And we're all going to die eventually. Might as well do it with a clean conscience.
It's not fair.
It's not the quantity of the time, it's the quality. So stop wasting time and enjoy what little we have left.
Isaac just turned on the red light.
I guess he thinks we're off mission. Stop wasting time with me. Go. Be with your girl. And maybe the last time.
You're right. I need to see Faye.
Alright, so in there we of course see Viper and Schaefer discussing his overall betrayal to the BTSU, as well as his imminent play at Coney Island. Not terribly pivotal towards the overall story. It is cool to see that moment of Isaac flagging Viper rogue, but that sets the scene, right? That was his first reintroduction. This next comm really begins to kick things into motion.
Well, it worked. He loves Faye and asked her to join his security detail.
My plan is working.
It is. I can't believe it is working, but it's working.
If she can get a moment alone with him, she can ask him to transfer the clearance to her. But if he doesn't do it, who's next in the line of succession?
Secretary of Agriculture.
We got eyes on him?
Her, but yeah, she's working a Sarah installation in Arkansas. She's a good one. If Ellis doesn't give us the key to the Ark, it will automatically pass to her. It's safe with her.
Until Nat figures out she's in Arkansas and has her killed so Cal gets the key.
It's easier for her to pretend to be the hero if she's not indiscriminately murdering politicians to install her puppet. One suicide you can explain, but 17 untimely deaths? Yeah, that's a pattern you can't explain away.
Alright, so first off, I just want to say seeing a comm in which Viper, Keener, and Schaefer are all sitting around having a conversation is wild, especially after the events of Warlords. But they're discussing Fei Lao's upcoming plan to meet with President Ellis, which we saw in Season 4, basically trying to avoid him buckling and giving Natalia Sokolova the nuclear arsenal. They reference the Ark in this discussion, which is a concept and thing that I discussed much more in my last lore video. I will link that on screen and in the description in case you want to check it out. But they then get into discussing the line of succession. And I actually feel quite a bit vindicated here by hearing this, basically because long ago I discussed how I thought it was going to be Natalia Sokolova's goal to axe the entire line of succession until it got down to Cal, so that ultimately she could legally, quote unquote, install him as president and get control. If you're not familiar with the concept, basically the president of the United States is in power, but then if they're to die, there is a line of succession through government officials who would get the president title and role in order to maintain continuity and having a leader of the country. Calvin McManus, who we know is the head of Homeland Security and the Hunters, he is in the line, but he's far, far down. However, if Natalia can get him installed, then he's got all the power. So back then, many people said I was reaching, thinking that she was going to try and intentionally do that given how far down the list he was, but they all lay it out right here plain as day. They talk about how the current next in line is the Secretary of Agriculture, and how they are currently in Arkansas, but Natalia would need to go through 17 additional people to get to Calvin McManus. And the thing is here, it is all about perception, right? We know from prior seasons and dialogue and everything, Natalia doesn't want to be perceived as a Bond villain, right? She wants to rule over a population of people who reveres her, who think that she saved them from annihilation. Now, something pretty neat that the devs have begun doing here in the recent weeks is that they have begun tying Anna's debrief dialogue for each scout mission to the respective lore comm that you earn for that week. And in this case, the debrief for Scout 6 plays right into the line of succession discussion, so take a listen.
Agent, I regret to inform you that the Secretary of Agriculture died last month. Cause of death: anaphylaxis, allergic reaction to sesame oil.
Alright, so you heard it right there. After them discussing the Secretary of Agriculture, Anna confirms that that person is dead. Is it really because of natural causes, or did Natalia Sokolova get her hand in things? I think we all probably know the answer to that. And what this means is that the buffer between Calvin McManus and the power that Natalia and him desire is closing. And in my opinion, that points towards how things are really beginning to ramp up towards the Battle for Brooklyn DLC. But let's shift back to Schaefer here for a second, shall we? Like we said, in these two comms, this is the return of his voice actor, and I do not believe that that was done for nothing. Schaefer also has a surprisingly big presence in this season's trailer, where we see him comatose, the various shots that we've gotten of that over the years. Again, I don't think that was done for no reason. Currently, we have Aaron Keener in the basement of the White House, Kelso is seen stalking the White House at the end of the trailer, and Schaefer is sitting pretty upstairs in the medical wing. The big line that we've heard repeated a few times now is that Schaefer is the key, right? Both kind of metaphorically and literally. He has not only existing knowledge of the Black Tusk's infrastructure, but also existing security clearances to some of their top facilities. And so it has been the theory for a long time that he will be one of the focal assets in the DLC, either to grant us access to different locations, give us vital intel, who knows. And so, tying this all together, with Schaefer's voice actor returning, given his prominence in the trailer, and everything else that they've been setting up for so long now, I fully believe that by the end of this season we will see Barton Schaefer awake, or at the very least it will be implied that he will have awakened by the beginning of the Battle for Brooklyn DLC. It really feels like some of the final pieces are moving into place here, and I am beyond excited. Folks, that is just about everything I have for you in this video. Really enjoyed diving back into the lore, especially given that Schaefer has returned, at least in voice form. I would love to hear all of your guys' thoughts and theories after listening to this. What do you make of Schaefer's return? Do you foresee him waking up in the events of this season, or do you think maybe his voice actor was brought back for a different reason? And how do you think this is all going to tie in and line up for the Brooklyn DLC? Can't wait to read all of it down below, but that is just about going to do it for me today, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Out.